Okay. This is actually going to be like the fucking cutest video in the world. For every one book I finish, I add 5 more to my TBR. There's just so many good books to read. And I'm so happy that I decided to do it. Now, currently, you could probably hear kids behind me. We have a daycare that's out, but I think they're rounding up to leave. They're all getting all leashed up to walk, so I think we're good. I just love, though, that I want to do a video today about love and books that made me like want to fall in love again. And love is just kind of like a childish thing. It's like love is like, it should be like childish. It should be innocent. It should be curious. It should be like just two kids just want to be like wanting to be friends and play. And I think that's really funny that there's kids over there reminding me of that. Hi, it's a brand new day. My name is Crystal Lee, and welcome to What We Reading Wednesdays, when every Wednesday we talk about books, we talk about what we're reading, what we like, recommendations, anything under the sun on Wednesdays. If you like knowing what to do or what to watch on a Wednesday, subscribe. I'll see you every Wednesday. If not, that's fine. Let me pop up as a surprise on your screen when you need it. We have changed our angle simply because the wind is winding and you're near some water. In today's video, I want to talk about the 6 books that made me want to fall in love again and want to like really have a deep bond with someone, or the books showed me a different way to view love and view how I love and how I want to be loved. And so I want to talk about those books today because I think they're great. All of the books on the list are 4 or 5 stars, and that's how they made it up there, simply because they changed my perspective on love, and made me want to dive deep in what I feel like love is for me. Without further ado, let's get into book 1. Okay, so the first book on my list is Curvy Girl Summer. Also, if you hear a bird in the background, it's just co-signing what I'm saying. Curvy Girl Summer, written by Danielle Allen, is about a woman named Aaliyah James who is going towards her 30th birthday. Like she's pushing to 30. Her 30th birthday is right around the corner, and with her 30th birthday, it marks a milestone where you kind of reflect on your life, and more importantly, your relationships, more importantly, your intimate ones, the relationships of love that lead to marriage and kids and a home. And you find that there's more pressure around those kind of relationships, and people are telling you to settle down. People are telling you to, it's time to find someone, as if you're literally haven't been doing that your entire life. We project around here. But Aaliyah James made it a goal for herself that by her 30th birthday, when she has this huge 30th birthday extravaganza with her friends and family, that she is going to find the love of her life, the person that she is going to marry. And her way of doing that is going on multiple dates over and over and over again. She has this one place where she has these dates at a bar. She meets the male main character, Ahmad, and she thinks that he's unavailable, and he just wants to see her journey kind of and help her out. So he tells her that she can bring her dates to the bar, and he can help her suss them out to get her to her goal. Lo and behold, they fall in love. There is some toxic stuff in this book that I wouldn't do while dating. There's not want to say toxic. There are some things in this book that I wouldn't personally do while dating or trying to date, but it's not my journey. It's somebody else's story, right? And somebody else can relate to the story down. The only reason why, the main reason why I love this story is because it's the first romance story that I read when starting my reading journey in August of 2024 that had a curvy size woman with big hair and a big life and a big personality and sarcasm, who like doesn't shut up. Hi, that's me. And kind of like reading these pages and kind of like being able to put myself in her shoes, in Aaliyah's shoes, simply because I can just put on the shoes, not that I have to put on the color or put on the life or anything like that. Like, this is my life. Her girlfriends, so much banter. Her family, so much pressure, so many insecurities that she got from growing up curvy and thinking that like she has to lose weight, like coming into her own as that. And watching her like fall in love again, and watching the relationship between her and Ahmad, like them being vulnerable with each other, being honest with each other, it opened up my eyes of what vulnerability really looks like. When I was younger, as a teenager, I didn't know vulnerability is like telling somebody your deepest scars. I think vulnerability is just telling somebody that you're sad but never telling you why. Like, vulnerability when I was younger was not the same, and is not the same as how I view vulnerability now. And seeing two characters get to that point to each other, I was like, that's what I want. I want something that is heart deep, something that is beautiful, and it made me want to start dating again and find love. I did go on a dating apps, and then I promptly went off the dating apps because they're dating apps and we live in America. This made me want to fall in love, but then reality made me want to just stay in my room and read more books. It is, but this is a beautiful story. So if you want to read it, I highly recommend it. Culture is there, Black love is there, Black stories are there. The annoying Black family that like really, really digs into your insecurities is there. And there's also grief for losing people that you love in here as well. So Daniel Allen wrote an amazing book. Thank you so much if you're watching this. I also rated this 5 stars. If I read it again, would I rate it 5 stars on my reading journey? 100% I think I will. The next book that I have on my list of books that made me want to fall in love is Funny Story by Emily Henry. This book, I think, took the world by storm somehow, someway. Is the water rising? I think the water is rising. Not a lot. We have a good amount. By the time I finish, I feel like the water will be like at a level where we can no longer be here, but it's fine. A librarian named Daphne, whose engagement was broken off because her fiance fell in love and wanted to marry his longtime best friend. She, the longtime best friend, was dating someone else named Miles, and she broke it off with him as well. Due to the circumstances and not having a place, Daphne ends up moving in with Miles, and bada bam, bada boom. It's a funny story. Along with them living together, they're both grieving of the relationship because that is a horrible way to be like broken up with somebody. Like, you mean to tell me the person who was around this entire time is someone you were in love with this entire time? So we're reading Daphne and Miles heal this heartbreak and get closer. And at some point they start fake dating because of the perception of them living together, I believe. And so from fake dating, they fall in love. But it's not just, again, about them falling in love. Miles is explained to readers as Nick Miller from New Girl. And if you know, you know. If you don't, please watch. Nick Miller, I think it's not a dream guy for every girl, but he is just a guy who women like. Describe him as that. And Daphne is someone who has had a life of disappointment with her dad, moving around with her mom, not having really anything stable. So the one stable thing that she had was this relationship with her fiance. I forgot his name, irrelevant. And it all broke away. And so while she is working at the library trying to get ready for this big readathon, and healing from this breakup and living with Miles, we see her find out or figure out that maybe staying in one place for a long period of time and making roots somewhere is actually really important. That was important for me to read. But also at the end of it, she didn't just stay with Miles and live with him and then happy ever after. She found herself, she found friends, and she decided to get a home away from Miles to really, again, dive deep into who she could be if she were to set roots somewhere. That's gorgeous. It was a beautiful story, and what made me want to fall in love about it was just that, the relationships that you have in your life should help you see yourself better. It shouldn't be that you're moving away from yourself or being someone who you're not supposed to be. It should help you dive deeper into who you are and who you want to be, And reading that story was just beautiful. There's a lot of funny stuff in there. If you're a book lover, you're gonna love the talks about the library and the readathon and everything that Daphne does to get this library to be the best it could be. Found family, friendship that you didn't know was going to be so good. Being seen by someone, again, in their most vulnerable state, learning about them through something not essentially devastating, but just about a piece of information you just found out, and now you can see them in a different light. Reading that story made me feel so good. And it was funny. It is a funny story when you find the love of your life that way, and then when you can find who you want to be and try something different, a different life that way. It was just beautiful. I rated it 4 stars. I recommend it. I think it's becoming a movie, maybe, or a show. It's New Girl. Ooh, this one is so good. Hold on. Love of My Afterlife by Christy Greenwood. Our main man character, Delphi, a loner, a lone wolf, doesn't care about anybody, doesn't want to care about anybody but herself, living alone, chokes by herself in her apartment on a microwavable burger or chicken sandwich. I always forget. She dies. She goes to the afterlife where she meets this crazy, kooky person. I forgot her name. The name is not on the back, so I will not look. She meets this crazy, kooky woman who is her afterlife coach, and she's trying to coach her through the afterlife and like look at her life in the past, like, you know, like the flash of life that you get like when you die. And she realizes that Delphi does not have anything really to flash back to. It is a life of just it's a tough life. Delphi has nothing to flash back to, and then as they're watching the non-life flash before her eyes, another person joins them in the afterlife waiting room, essentially, and it's this beautiful man, and Delphi falls in love with him. But then he leaves because he's not really dead. It was a anesthesia incorrection. It was a anesthesia thing where he like too asleep enough to like seem dead, but he really wasn't dead. After this happens, the afterlife coach says, all right, this should be interesting. That is the love of your life. The guy who you just saw in the afterlife, because you're dead but he's not, is the love of your life. And I'm going to send you back to find him, but you have a limited amount of time to find him and get him to kiss you. And if you could do that, you'll get your life back. If you can't do that, you will re-die all over it. So good. This is a story about found family again. This is a story about healing from family trauma and kind of feeling like you're not enough based on how your parents treated you. Wanting or getting the relationships or finding relationships that you didn't know were going to be so meaningful for you. And then finding a love that you didn't know could be so like good for you. There is an enemies to lovers. There is fake dating. There's grief. Like there's always going to be grief in love stories. I think grief doesn't make a human, but it deepens the human experience, because to lose something that you have loved is an experience that no one wants, but you learn so much from. So there's always going to be grief in a love story, I feel like. Christy Greenwood is an amazing writer because of her references, some of the ways she just like writes the character and writes the plot as well. Like there's not really predictable. It's just really fun and crazy. And something happened in the book that I couldn't predict. And I'm really happy that she wrote it that way. And the ending was just great. Like Delphi is just a person who cares too much. And because of that, she decided to be like a loner, but it was hard for her to do so. This book made me want to fall in love because it again made me want to dive deeper into life. It made me think deeper about what we do on a daily basis and how we talk to people, how we talk to ourselves, what we think, the people we spend time on that we shouldn't spend time on, the connections that we want to actually dig deeper in and like hold on to. It's very beautiful. Just a very much like contemporary romance. So many of today's like references, whether it be like social media or music or even to other authors in here, so good. Like, what would you do if you died but got a second chance at life? Like, what would you do? So I guess this one made me want to fall in love with life again, or life more so than before. Love it. Love it down. Highly recommend, obviously. The water's rising. And I have 3 more books. The next book I have on my list of books that made me want to fall in love again is The Spell Shop. The Spell Shop was my first like dive into like a kind of fantasy, and then there was also romance in there, clearly. Spell Shop was about another librarian, but this librarian was in charge of a magical library with magic books, resources for magic stuff, where in a world where magic is limited to certain users. And so not a lot of people can use it. There's an uprise because duh. And she wants to save these books. So the sentient spider plant, takes these books and rows to a place that the librarian used to live. I forget her name. Okay, so Keela flees to her hometown where she grew up and was taken away from, simply because her parents wanted a different life for her. So she was trying to figure out how to escape the uprise, but escape with some contraband books. She escaped with some of the works that she wanted to save. She wanted to save the entire library, but she couldn't. So they flee to her old home, and magic is still prohibited and outside of the Great Library of Elysium. So she has these books, but she has to hide them. So she hides them in her old family home. But along with that, she meets this one guy. I can't find the name of the neighbor that she falls in love with or who falls in love with her. But essentially, when she's back at her family home, she meets this guy who happened to be a little boy that she met when she was younger, who was always in love with her. And while she's at her hometown, she sees how important magic can be to her hometown and how it could lift them up and help them with their businesses and just the whole community. So she opens up a jam shop She uses a spell to grow all these berries, makes jam, opens up a jam shop, but behind the jam shop is a spell shop where she like sells things. So that's a spell shop. This book made me want to fall in love because the male main character, who I cannot remember his name and it's pissing me off, he was just someone, and this is gonna sound crazy, but he was someone who saw what Keela needed before she saw what she needed and helped her. She came back to a home that's been abandoned for years and she had no food and like no heat. This man put food on at the door and fixed her heat without even her asking. And she was like against it because she again had these contraband books that she didn't want to be like caught with. And even though this man was very helpful, she didn't know whether or not he would be dangerous to her. Over the course of the book, he just was there and helpful. And I think because he was able to build things and the description was beautiful, like to be loved is to be seen. And this male main character, whose name I'm forgetting, saw Keela and like decided, okay, this is it. This is who it is. And I understand that love isn't like that. You don't just see someone, or maybe it's not like that for many people, but you don't just see someone and they're that's it. For some people that's the thing, like high school or elementary school or middle school sweetheart, but for some people it's not like that. And it was really nice to read that in the book, along with magic and a sentient spider plant, a sentient binary cactus. There was a half woman, half a minotaur of a woman with 4 hands. It was just like fairies all over. There were forest cloud bears that were like the keepers of the forest. The magic system and the magic that was in this book was beautiful, and the love of the male main character and Keela was just great. Even Kaz and Meep, the cactus and the spider plant, fell in love, and it was just so cool. And it's about also just like helping people out and doing the right thing even though it's hard. But again, the love story was probably like 1/3 or 1/4 of the book, and I loved it so much. It was enough. Like it was enough of a story, enough of a love story. It was so good. And I enjoyed that so much because he just saw her. And I can only imagine what it's like to be fully seen by like a man. I'm fully seen by my friends. I love them down, and I know they love me too. But it was just really nice to read it in a book. I highly recommend it. If you're trying to like delve into the land of magic and fairies, fantasy, I would start with this book. This was a really good starter book when it came to like reading about fairies and reading about that world, because Sarah Durst, I believe the author's name is Sarah Beth Durst. She did a great job of writing a story that was easily digestible for someone who doesn't read those kind of books often. Not that she wanted to do that. I'm just saying for someone who doesn't read those types of books often, and I'm just now getting into it. It was a really digestible book, very cute, no spice. If you don't want that, I like spice. I don't care either way. It was just a really, really cute love story. There was also mermaids and mer people. God, it was a great book. I highly recommend it. I gave that 4 stars. Also, I gave Love Afterlife 5 stars. We have 2 more, so hold on tight. The next one is The Mixtape by Brittany Cherry. If you know, you know. A single mom struggling to make ends meet meets a down on his luck musician who lost his twin brother in a car accident. They're both are at their like bottom, basically. And they meet each other while he's like getting drunk at her bar. And he actually ruins the job for her. He gets her fired. Then everything works out. I'm just kidding though. But then it just goes on to like them learning about each other, talking about each other, healing. It talks about religion and the limitation of it. It talks about, again, grief. It talks about the music industry. It talks about sexual assault. Like Brittany Cherry was able to put so many topics in one book. It was beautiful. The reason why this book made me want to fall in love is because it had to do with the music. And I think music is a language of its own. In the book, the main characters send each other songs each day describing their day, or at the end of the day describing how the day went. And I think that's beautiful. I think communication through music is so beautiful and cute, and it's kind of one of my own love languages, and to see that in there was great. They had a night where I I should actually give you the names of these people, right? Oliver and Emery, those are the characters' names that I just forgot to say. They have a night where they're just chilling. She's child free for the night. I think they're coming down from a party that they had, a gathering that they had, and they're just sitting around exchanging music back and forth, like asking them questions, and the answer is a song, and then they sit there and listen to it. That is so fucking beautiful. Like, that's something I would do. That's something I would do, and I loved reading it. And during that time, they both exposed something very vulnerable about their past, and the way they handled it with each other was just so great. There was no shame, there was no angst, there was no miscommunication. Okay, there was about 20 pages of miscommunication. Well, okay, it wasn't miscommunication. There was 2 pages of miscommunication. They figured it out, and then 10 pages of debauchery, because I hate a third act breakup. It is what it is, though. Again, he just helped her. He saw her. She saw him. They saw each other. And the way they talked to each other, and the way it was just not good from day one, but after that horrible day, it was just a great story. Brittany Cherry was, again, able to fit so many themes in this one book and make you feel so many things. And again, it made me just want to feel seen by someone. It made me want to feel like they felt in the book. And it was just so good. 100% so good. 5 stars. If you like to read, you can read it in a day. I recommend it if you're up for those topics. And I think it was the music part. I literally 100% think it was the music part, because hello? Also, I will say with the mixtape, there are Black characters. So it's another Black story, Black love, and seeing a Black woman being able to be loved without struggle, without pain, without first going through like the most diabolical turn of events ever. She was just loved down off rip, and that was beautiful to see. I don't like struggle love. Why do we have it? And why do Black women have to go through it in every story, every book, every movie? No, there was no struggle love in here. There was struggle within life, but there was just all just love. So good. So freaking good. And then the last book on my list of books that made me want to fall in love, this is another 5 star. Between Friends and Lovers by Shirlene Obuobi. Our female main character, Josephine. Our male main character, Malcolm. And then someone who I don't care about was Ezra. It was talked about as if it was a love triangle. It really wasn't. It was a unrequited love, and then there was a I have loved you from the beginning kind of love. The relationship between Joe and Malcolm is one for the books. Heavy on the mental health issues, a lot of heavy on the being a social media influencer. Josephine is a social media influencer and had some like mental health issues and how she kind of like deals with things. Malcolm is a well-known fantasy writer whose book took off, and he's on his like author tour route thingy, trying to get on social media, trying to like be like a face and not just no longer behind the scenes of a book he wrote. Shirlene wrote a male main character that was so fucking locked in to his emotions and locked into who he is as a person. I think the first question when I meet a man is, have you been to therapy? And if you have, give me 3 things that you have learned. And if they're all egotistical, I'm like, you didn't learn. You didn't go to therapy. You went to a chit chat. The water is now at my feet. It's just like at my heels, actually. It made me want to do that because, like, what do you mean he was able to know he's being triggered by something that Josephine did? He thought back to a scenario where in which the same thing happened. And then he realized the perspective that he took back then wasn't the same. The perspective he had back then about the issue wasn't really how it went down. And so he used that tool of recalling something to help the situation. And instead of like them having a big fight, they talked it out. Now I understand that like it would have been nice for Josephine to also have that kind of stability mentally. But sometimes those aren't the cards we're dealt. Sometimes we just know how to handle a situation better than somebody else. And if we love that person, we want to help them be able to manage it with us together, themselves, if they have to. And the way Malcolm was able just to be patient and to talk and be honest when he's feeling really, really like lovey-dovey, like telling her, I want to kiss you right now, or telling her, I really like you, or just being honest with him. And then also being honest when he feels a little jealous because of the third person, Ezra, who fuck him. Him being able to voice that while they were like having a picnic and say like, hey, I feel this way. I want you to choose me and love me. And if you can't, that's fine. I'm good either way. To say that straight out, send me 10 of them. Send me one. I can't do a reverse harem. I need to focus on one person at a time, but send me one of them. Malcolm was an amazingly written character. Josephine, on the other hand, a girl who's struggling with it. Like she's struggling. She's struggling a bit. But I loved that she was the one kind of struggling on that sort, and Malcolm was the one kind of being level-headed. I don't see really stories about that all the time. It's always the woman saving the guy and teaching him how to feel and teaching him how to process emotions. And to see that change is great. I wouldn't say I'm Josephine. No, I lied. As soon as I said it, I lied. I would say I have a lot of traits like Josephine when it comes to dealing with certain things, but it's always something I keep close to my chest. I don't she locks people out. There's something happened, and instead of talking about it, she locked herself in the room for weeks, where like Malcolm came and helped. But like I wouldn't do that, but I would keep it close to my chest for a long time and act like I'm okay. I'm proud of myself for being able to talk about some heavy things with people I wouldn't see as close people, but important enough, not important enough, but people who I think need to know the information. Like communicating and informing people about things that I'm feeling or thinking has been the most important thing to my journey, and how I hope to communicate with the love of my life when I meet him. Where the fuck are you? But Josephine wasn't like that. But again, it was good to see like a woman in a book not having to have it all together to be loved, and to be loved even in their darkest moments. Like it made me want to fall in love, but it also made me want to fall in love with a specific person. Like I want my person to have the traits that Malcolm have. I want my person to have the traits that Ahmad had in Curvy Girl Summer. I wanted my partner to have traits that the male main character that I still can't remember his name in Spell Shop had. I want my person to have some of the characteristics that were in Funny Story like Miles had. I guess reading all these books made me realize how deep I want a love to be, and the certain characteristics I want in my person, and not realize it like they weren't there, but deepen it and define it more so. Because it's easy to say I want to fall in love. It's easy to say I want a relationship. It's easy to say I want my person. But like, question, are you ready for it? Definitively, what do they look like? Like, what does it look like to actually be in the relationship that you want to be in? Are you the person that you want in your person? Basically, like, are you mirroring the characteristics that you want in your person? These are all the questions that I ask myself. And to an extent, yes. And it's not to say that you have to be perfect and the perfect version of you to find love of your life. But I do think there are some things you have to do on your own to be that person you want to be in a relationship. That's a given. It's literally for any relationship or anything in life. You have to be some kind of something to get something, but not perfect. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make sense. But yeah, man, I have been feeling so lovely lately. I've been feeling so much love between my friends and like my life, and really loving who I'm becoming. I moved into a van and doing a van life, or the kind of life that I find thrill in and happiness in. If it changes, it changes. But for right now, it's good. I'm just really happy. And I feel so in love with myself and so obsessed with myself. And I wanted to make this video because I think it's coming from all the love that I've been taking into my life, whether it be hanging out with friends, reading beautiful books, reading beautiful love stories, like whatever it is, I'm feeling just in it. I'm just feeling in it. And I've been seeing a lot of 222 lately, which is like the energy of love. But all that to say, like, I love a good story. I love a good love story. And the love stories that I read when I was younger versus now is so different because you've had a life. When you're in love, when you're a teenager, you don't have much life. Before that, you were an infant. You were just shitting in your pants. But now, being 30, turning 31 this year, there's the way I view love and the way I view loving people and being loved. It's so much different. It's so much rooted, and it's so I keep thinking dirty, but it's not dirty. It's aged like a fine wine. It's different. It's deeper. It's more defined, but it feels so strong and intimate. And whether I meet my like love of my life that I'm going to marry in this lifetime, because I do believe all my friends that I have right now are my soulmates. They're the love of my life. When I meet the love of my life that I may marry, whether it be this lifetime or another lifetime, I can't wait. Like the feeling of excitement and like the pending love is like so great. Anyway, if you read any of these stories, please let me know in the comments down below. If you want to read any of these stories, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you felt anything about what I said, let me know in the comments down below. This is a community, a conversation. Let's talk. I love to talk, clearly. And just let me know. This has been such a fun day with such a fun area. I hope to do more videos in this place, like in this area with the water not rising. It's a high tide. Anyway, I love you. I am grateful for you, and I will see you in the next story. Bye.